In the world of video games, there's enough strange, specific and niche projects aimed at narrow layer of the audience, which no matter what will be faithful to their favorite entertainment until the grave. A striking example of these games decide to real-world transition. This is not even a separate genre, but several. These are train simulators with a high level of realism, where you need to directly manage the locomotive. There are games focused on solving logistic and transporting problems. Here we are busy planning switch and junctions, creating trains and finding the best way. There's also economic strategies, in which railroads are profitable business. Railway Empire 2 belongs to the latter type, a classic railroad tycoon style tycoon, dedicated to the heyday of steam locomotive transportation. We have already reviewed the first part, then the development of Gaming Mind Studio deserve only pass. What has changed 5 years later? The original Railway Empire was all about North American railroads. Yes, the several add-ons were released, significantly expanding the geography of the game, up to such exotic as map of Japan and Australia. But I had no desire to familiarize myself with them. But I remember well that the first part, despite the specific genre, perfectly conveyed the spirit of the Wild West era, the time of brave and entertaining people, and the latest technologies, including of course railroad transportation. Unexpected depression for tycoon, but the positive aspect and here. Railway Empire seems to me too simple and incompetent compared to other transportation strategies. In the arsenal of the second part there are two maps at once, North America from one coast to the other and Western Europe from Stockholm to Porto. The player takes on the role of the owner of the transport company, which gets a license to develop the railway network in the region. The economic system tries to look serious in addition to the typical for the general rule. As city grows, its transportation meets the needs of its inhabitants. There is a stock of market where shares of abstract categories like raw materials, construction, production, transportation, and specific transportation companies, including your own, are traded. However, it's not the stock exchange game, but transportation that remains the main driving force of the economy, and it is on the well-being of residents, the development and growth of city, and in general the movement up the ladder of global scientific and technological progress. We build stations, connect cities and industrial areas like farms, sawmills, mines and factories, and avoid the flow of goods and passengers reach the farthest corner of the continent. We immediately put the profits in the circulation, building new train stations, buying factories, improving the road network, all of the brings in revenue against and continue the never-ending spiral of development. Whatever in the campaign, it is individual scenarios or is free to play. We are constantly being pressed with a special task that become a guidance for further action. The tasks are simple: to transport the right amount of goods or passenger on a particular road to increase the population of the city, to connect an industrial enterprise to the transmission network, and so on. Helps not to get bored. If you have no imagination, finally there is a sandbox mode, where there is no restriction, build roads and watch the trains. Those familiar with the original 5 years ago will probably say that all this has already happened before. Now I will tell you the differences are, but I warn you right away, most likely you won't like the answer. If you go to the game encyclopedia, in the chapter Basics, you can find the section comparison with the first game. Do you know how many points there are? 6. The ability to add buildings to train station, hotels in rail station, staff now assigned to general department instead of assigned to specific train, track forks, and multiplayer. You can no longer set semaphores, you can only choose the direction of a section of tracks. On whom the last implication is oriented, taking into account the audience of such games accustomed to complexities. I can't understand. One thing is clear, Railway Empire 2 lose more with these gains. Forget about planning, intrigued injunction, and internal, but so fascinating torment with the installation of signals on the tracks in the correct sequence. In the end, it would have been possible to allow you to choose your own way of laying tracks, the old way with semaphores or with the help of a new system, but the developers refused to do this as well. With multiplayer 2, not everything is smooth. There is only a cooperative mode, in which all participants manage one company and dispose of the common capital, a strange choice for the economic strategy tied to business railway. Another annoying thing, the game's pace is very slow. Even at maximum acceleration, you sometimes have to wait a long time to accumulate enough money to build another station or track. It's scary to think how much time you had to spend to get through the game from 8030 to 9030. That's the limit here. Let's assume that the authors didn't have enough time to energy introduce a competitive mode and significant innovation, because they are very busy with graphic is not much different from what we saw in the first part. The interface has changed, but as its designer was given the task to make a new one from the same library of assets. Most of the icons and buttons are drawn from those who were before. Railway Empire 2 has positive sides. You can on move changing the scale of the camera, close up consider any train and even write on drawing the movement. The models of locomotives are drawn in detail and with attention to detail. There's a lot of scenarios with various tasks, 2 huge maps and a simple but working economy. But all of this was also in the first game. We are offered almost the same strategy, in which the interface has been slightly redesigned. If you forget about the fact that we are facing the second part of the series, we sometimes repeat the original, and almost all the differences are aimed to simplify the gameplay. This strategy can even be called not bad. Not bad in the mid of 2000s. The interface, the level of realism, the character models, the nearby thousand localization. It's as it takes us back and 15 years ago. In these times when OpenTDD was just released and neither transport favor, not Speed Transit, not many other similar strategy exists, the project of Gaming Mind Studios would survive to life and popularity. Now, you need something more modern, and from modern have only the price. Railway Empire 2 will cost you around $50 on PC Steam, and will be even more expensive on consoles. Pros of the game is a simple and accessible gameplay, not bad for getting acquainted with engine. And cons is too few innovation compared to the first part, primitive system of road building and very high price for this type of game. Thank you for watching.